ASMR.
Hey Tinglebears, it's Midnight ASMR here. This is probably going to be a well, that's a great start, isn't it? This will probably be a whisper, ramble, video, vlog, series thing, which is basically me updating and talking about my driving lessons that I've just started taking. I'm doing this because I know that many people who will be taking their driving lessons at some point, and they may be like, anxious about it or whatever. So I'm just doing it to hopefully ease their minds a bit. So, yeah. I will first tell you a little bit about my driving instructor. His name is Ray. He is in his 60s. He drives a black four-door Vauxhall Corsa, which is what he teaches in as well. It's a manual because I want to learn a manual rather than an automatic. He, like 15 years ago, about 15 years ago, he taught my aunt how to drive. He also taught my aunt's daughter, my cousin, how to drive a few years ago. And within the last sort of 2 years, he taught my cousin's boyfriend how to drive. Well, actually, he learned how to drive with another company, but he failed a couple of tests and managed to pass full, first time with Ray. So, yeah, Ray seems cool. But I was proper nervous about meeting him for the first time because I can occasionally get panic attacks if I'm stuck with someone in a confined space for a long period of time. But yeah, I won't tell Ray that I have panic attacks in case he won't let me drive. So he doesn't teach around my area because he doesn't know it very well. So I have to go to my nan's for the day whenever I want a driving lesson, because he knows that area better and where the quieter roads are and stuff like that. What else? Okay, yeah. What do I suggest before you do your first driving lesson? Research. A lot of people get in the car not knowing much at all because, it's your driving instructor's job to teach you. But I think it helps you feel more prepared if you are prepared, if that makes sense. So, there are a lot of online resources that can help you, like the hazard perception tests, which are video clips where hazards occur and you have to try and point them out before they awake for at least 2 hours before it, so that you've kind of sobered up from your sleeping state. I don't think you should eat within the hour before you go, because nerves plus your first driving lesson plus a full stomach doesn't sound like a great idea. I only got 2 hours sleep before I did it, so it wasn't the most comfortable experience. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend that. So I got into the passenger side first because he drove to a quieter road with cars parked on both sides. And he basically said, by the end of this lesson, you will have driven through the gap. You will have pulled over and parked, and you will have gone round a couple of corners. I felt like a rabbit in the headlights at that point. But I guess you got to tackle at some point if you want to drive. I then got in the driver's seat, and he went over the controls, all that kind of stuff, like what I was going to learn, all that. And I felt kind of calm because I knew most of it already, and it was just about him explaining it in more detail to me. Then he went over the cockpit drill, which is basically you sit in the car in the driver's side, and there's like a checklist of things you need to check each time. It's you shut the door, make sure all the doors are shut properly, check the lights work, put your seatbelt on and make sure that everyone's seatbelts are on, check your mirrors are angled properly, make sure that your seat is altered to make you most comfortable, and make sure the headrest, like the top of the headrest, is in line with the top of your head. Then you need to find biting point, which is basically when a disc that is connected to the engine sets the disc that is connected to the wheels in motion. And to do that, I believe, I may be slightly wrong, but I believe it's when you put your foot completely on the clutch, like all the way down to the floor of the car. You put the car in first gear, then you gently put some pressure on the accelerate or gas pedal until you reach about 10 revs a minute. I think it's about 10 revs a minute. Then you have to slowly bring the clutch up until the front of your car lifts slightly, and that is biting point. If you have the handbrake on, as in up, and the car's not moving, you're fine, you're safe. I think you should be okay. But as soon as you put the handbrake on, as in off even, as soon as you put the handbrake off, you must have looked in your mirrors and even over your shoulder, which is your blind spot that you can't see in the mirrors, and looked for anything that might be coming up behind you or pulling out. And you keep your feet still, completely still on the biting point until you've put the presumably pulled out of away from the curb, basically. And then once you straighten up your car, you can take your foot off the clutch and focus more on the gas pedal. Personally, I probably drove, about half a mile to 3/4 of a mile total. And he said that I had good control of the foot pedals and the gears and all that kind of stuff, although I only went from first gear into neutral, that kind of stuff, when moving, but when not moving I went through all the gears to make sure I knew what I was doing. But yeah, he said that I had good control over that. But I already knew what my problem was going to be, and that would be steering straight, parallel to the cars parked on either sides of the road, because I was so anxious about potentially hitting them that I couldn't drive straight. I couldn't steer straight, so he had to help me. I was pretty good with the corners, but once again you have to straighten up afterwards, and I was so busy trying to not hit cars on the side of the road. So that should be interesting. Some people say it'd be a good idea to have a 2-hour first lesson, and I'd considered it because I would have liked, the extra hour to go over it all again. But genuinely, it is a lot to process if you've never had a driving lesson before. So an hour lesson is better, in my opinion, and in Ray's opinion, just so that you don't sort of get an information overload, and it can get quite hot in the car, particularly in the summer, even with the windows open, if you're kind of nervous about it. And I suddenly felt really dehydrated as soon as I got in the car on the driver's side, but hey, yeah, so don't be worried. Get a good amount of sleep beforehand. Stay awake for at least the sort of 2 hours before you end up taking the driving lesson. I wouldn't advise eating within the hour before it, but you should still have eaten something before that. Do some research and don't panic. Find someone that you trust to go over it with you, and yeah, just try and stay as calm as possible. So I will update my driving lesson vlog, or whatever it's going to be, after my next lesson. So maybe it'll be later next week. I'm not sure yet.